What's up, Ubit? What's up, Jaden? Faith. Oh, I know that's your favorite song, Ubit. It's okay. What's up, Noah? All right, it is 7 o'clock. All right, let's go ahead and get this started. You're gonna have to take the test later in the day, maybe then. But yeah, we'll work it out. Or you're gonna have to take it when we get back. All right, Electoral College. So the only time we use the Electoral College is when we are choosing the president and the vice president. So when you pick one, you're picking both. And somebody just rang my doorbell, and the dogs are barking. Um, we have uh, in the Electoral College, how it works is basically you're not directly choosing the president. Instead, what you're choosing is a slate of electors. Slate members, just another way of saying group. And these electors represent the votes for your state. So in Virginia, we choose 13 electors. Now, these electors are chosen by popular vote. So there's going to be like 13 Democratic electors or 13 Republican electors. The reason there's not like 6 and 7 is because we have what's called a winner take all system. So even if you win by one vote, then all the votes are either going to be Democrat for that state, the electoral votes, or all the electoral votes will be Republican for that state. And then once it's all said and done, they're going to meet and they're going to cast their electoral vote for it. So here's a word I didn't use a ton. I used it today during the review. But densely just means tightly packed together. Think of your science with your solid molecules. Um, so that's going to be your places like New York City, Los Angeles. Notice in those states, like California has 55, they have the most. New York has like 34, I believe. Those states have more electoral votes because there's more people living closely together. Whereas if you go to like Montana, which is huge, it only has like 3 electoral votes because your closest neighbor is like 5 miles down the road. It's more sparsely populated. So that's the opposite of dense. Densely is tightly packed together, sparsely spread out. Hey Omar, hey Adrian. Now, the electoral vote is not based on population. That's the most common wrong answer. It is based on the state's congressional representation. So if you did your study guide, yes, parents, if you're listening, they had a study guide and it's super easy. So it's kind of a joke if they don't get credit for it because it's really easy and they had a little bit of class time to work on it. But anyways, and remember it's 2 senators because every state has 2 senators plus the number of representatives. Now the representatives, that is based on population. So in Virginia, we have 13 electoral votes. That means we have 2 senators and we have 11 representatives. Every 10 years, they do a census and the numbers are adjusted to reflect the populations in those states. It's comparative. So if Virginia goes up to 15 because they think we have a lot more people here, that means somewhere else there's going to be losing an electoral vote or two because the number stays the same. The magic numbers being there's 538 total electoral votes, so 100 senators, 435 representatives, and then 3 for DC. So 538 total. The winning number is 270. Once you hit 270, you have won. Because of how this works, uh, with a majority vote being needed to win, you need to get over 50, that 270 need over half the electoral votes. There really only a two-party system works. With a third party, let's say they all split it, went one third, one third, one third. That's only 33%. It's just not going to cut it. Hey, Stephanie. Um, that's really it. We're already participating in a campaign through our project. That's that next stuff over there. All right, so let's do some review questions. Let me zoom in so you can see them. All right, let's go ahead and do 1, 2, and 3. It should be an easy 100 then, right, Jaden? It was so quick. Easy 100. Can y'all see that, or do I need to zoom in even more? No, now you can't see it. It's too far. All right, so Jaden, that was super quick, right? Maybe you need to go back at and look at it since it was super quick. So how are the slate of electors chosen? Okay, chosen by popular vote. So that's when you see like the overall numbers. The popular vote is like if I did a vote of hands, the 30 kids in the room. The popular vote would be 20 people wanted pizza, 10 people wanted chicken. Okay, that's the vote. Even if our class is only worth 5 electoral votes. So in Virginia, there might be 1 million voted one party, 900,000 voted the other party. That's the popular vote. So number one is going to be A. Number one is A. Number two, what is the number of electors the state receives is based upon? This is just a weird way of saying it, but it is C, number of representatives the state has in Congress. Number three, majority vote to win electoral college requires what kind of system? That one should be D. Should be D, two party. All right, number four is kind of a joke. So looking at the chart, which state would you go after if you were trying to win? If you miss this, I don't know what to tell you. You can answer number five too while we're sitting here. The correct answer is California, because it has the most electoral college votes. Number five. And you can look at number 6 and 7 while we're doing number five. Ace, that's the kind of answer I would expect from you. Why would candidates target large states when campaigning? Well, just like California, because large states have a greater number of electoral college votes. Now, when I say large, yes, California is large, but we're talking about large population. So Alaska is technically our largest state land-wise, but it's only got 3 electoral votes because nobody lives there. Number 6. Under the Electoral College, the electors meet to vote for. It is D, the president and vice president. That's all we've been talking about. Please don't guess anything else tomorrow. Number 7. Candidates for president of the United States target large states for campaigning because of the blank system in almost all of the states. If you were truly an ace, you would have aced all of the tests. Ace. But number 7 is B, winner take all. So remember, even if you win by one vote, you get all of the votes for that state, all the electoral votes for that state. All right. So taking a look at this chart, we see here's the popular vote. We looked at this one in class right here, where Hayes wins by one vote. Even though he won electoral college, he won by one vote, but he got 200,000 less popular votes essentially. Election of 1888. Here we see electoral vote again, and again Harrison wins while getting less of the popular vote by about 100,000. And then even in the election of 2000, George W. Bush wins, even though Al Gore beat him by 500,000 votes because of the Electoral College. So using the chart above, how is the Electoral College system criticized? Your spray-on shoes, which were a horrible idea. Worst idea ever. But you did get 100%. So number 8, pretty much spelled it out for you that a person can basically win the presidency without winning the popular vote, as you guys saw that in class. That's what a lot of people complain about. All right, we have another map. Who won the presidential election of 1848? So in 1848, just type the name of the person who won. You can see the names in the bottom right. Fun fact, while I got you here, see this map? Look how Virginia's shaped. You notice that's West Virginia right there? West Virginia is an illegal state. They'll never talk about it in the Supreme Court because basically it would ruin us having 50 states. But West Virginia broke apart during the Civil War and then never rejoined Virginia again. So it just kind of did its own thing. Oh, I know it wasn't not a good idea. But anyways, Whig, Taylor, was the correct answer here, B, because if you look at the electoral vote, because this unfortunately doesn't matter, the electoral vote says that they've got the majority vote right there. Number 10, and the last one, why must candidates still pay attention to the small states? Correct. That in a close election or a tight election, the electoral votes could make the difference. All right, you guys got any questions for me? I think you guys are ready. Take it back to the notes here. Any questions? Because the popular vote dictates who's going to win. It's just another metric of looking at the data, Josh. So, it really comes down to a state. So, let me see if I can get a Word document open. There we go. I'll view those later. All right. So, for instance, let's just use Virginia right now. So the northern part of Virginia is usually Democratic. The southern part normally Republican. And it should all be in the notes, yes. So let's just say 1 million voted Democrat. If I can spell. Okay? Oh, I'm going to hit enter because I can do this. And then we have 900,000 voted Republican. I'm trying to keep the numbers simple. All right, so I'm making up numbers. So let's say Virginia's got a decent population. I'm sure there's more people that live in Virginia than that, but let's just say California, we all know, has the most. So California typically goes. Let's actually reverse this. Let's reverse this. Let's say Republican wins in Virginia, just to prove my point. All right. So right now, Republicans have a 100,000 popular vote advantage. Y'all see the math, right? 1 million, the difference between 1,900,000 and 100,000. Okay? So if we go to California, let's say that there's 50 million people who live in California. Remember, California's got 55 electoral votes. They got a ton of people. And let's say, usually it's blue. Okay? So let's say that of the 50 million, 35 million vote Democrat, and 15 million vote Republican. So here, the difference is 20 million popular. I should write it out the same way. That way you guys don't get. Democrats have a 20 million popular vote advantage. Because California has so many more people, right? They're only worth 55. We're worth 13. Look at the difference in people, 1.9 to 50. Again, I'm making up numbers, but this is kind of how it is. Whereas we get one vote, I want to say we have like 13 million or something like that. Who knows? I really don't know the numbers. I apologize. I know like in not North Dakota, I was about to say one. Like in Iowa, it's one for every 200,000, whereas in California, it's one for every 2.4 million people. That's how much their representatives the numbers are. So what the popular vote is right now, this would show you popular vote advantage of 19.9K million for Democrats. Now there's only 2 states, but it would also the electoral vote advantage would only be what is it 55 minus 13. This is scary. I have to do math. Would only be 42. So the popular vote dictates which way the electoral vote's going to go. But that's one of the arguments they say, like the Electoral College is, if we didn't have it, this is the argument some people make. If we didn't have the Electoral College, then why would candidates ever go to Alaska? Why would they ever go to Hawaii, Montana, Iowa? These states where there's not as many people living in, why bother? You could just go to California, Texas, Florida, Ohio, New York, because that's where everybody lives. If you're doing popular vote, if I go to spend all my days in Montana, there's 250,000 people who live there. And let's say I got every single person who lives there, because remember, there's children, but let's just say they're all adults. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna win. I'm only gonna have 250,000 votes. Where if I get half of California, which is 50 million, that's 25 million votes. So the Electoral College kind of protects the small states and gives them value. I don't know who Not Skill is. And hi, Admasu. So hopefully that explained it. And if you have any other questions, let me know. You guys got any other questions? We should go outside in advisory tomorrow. It's probably not going to happen. I already went over everything at Masu. So right here, all this stuff is on the video. Once I turn it off, it'll save and you can review it, okay? Why not? I don't understand what you mean by why not. Let's see. But anybody else have any other questions? Oh, um, because you're going on a break for 3 days. You guys, who cares? Probably about. I think there's 11 off the top of my head. It's 10 to 12. I looked at it. I just don't remember the exact number, Josh. No, we're not doing a gim kit. I'll do a gim kit. I'll do gim kits when there's more than one test. But you guys should have that review that we did in class today where you can review it and study it. Let me see if I can find it. I think I might have it right here, actually. All right, there you go. You guys can type that in. It's easy, and this should be a way for you guys to practice it. It should be the questions that we worked on today, and that way you guys can get some more work on it. It's just a quick little 9-question quiz. So when I turn it off, you'll be able to see it. I zoomed in so you guys can see the things. That way you guys can practice. You guys got any other questions? All right, no more questions. Good luck, guys. I will see you tomorrow. After the test, plan on working on your projects or your glossaries. All projects are due on Monday when we get back. No excuses. Good luck.